Hello, everybody again.
Okay. Good evening, comadres. Good evening, friends. We're happy that you are with us tonight. Tonight, we start the first in a series. It's called Let It Go, Organizing as a Form of Self-Care. With us, our presenter, Comadre Jacqueline Quiñones. Comadre, take it away.
Thank you, Maria. So happy and grateful to be able to share some of this information with all of you tonight. And thank you for joining. It's great to see familiar faces. Um, I'm going to start with a little paragraph that I want to read to all of you from a book called Everyday Calm. In reference to what we're going to be doing, not only now, but in the series, because tonight I'm going to talk about kitchen tips, but we're hoping to do it on a monthly basis and then talk about other organizing tips that you can practice for the bedroom, for the bathroom, for the living room, for a closet, etc. So this tells you a little bit about how cleaning can help with self-care. It says, pent-up frustration can be used for positive results. Dust off your cleaning equipment and get scrubbing. As you transform your household, you'll also wash away internal anxiety. Your floors will shine as your mind unwinds. Dig into corners, turn up the good old rock and roll and dance while you work, or the salsa, or the bachata, or the merengue, whatever you like to dance. You can't clean everything, so don't worry about finishing. Just keep going as long as you enjoy it. Find contentment in the activity and stay in the moment. Who would have thought cleaning could be so enriching? So this, it has cleaning can really help the soul and the spirit to clear your mind, to concentrate on something that you're doing and thinking about how you're letting go of some of the things that you have and how you also are having some type of organization in your life as well. So we're going to start. I have a couple of slides, and Maria's going to help me advance the slides. And I like to have interaction with participants, so I might ask you questions because we're going to get to a point where I'll ask you as well what type of organizing tips you might want to share that you've done yourself, that you've practiced or seen. So tonight's session is called Let It Go, Organization as a Form of Self-Care, Smart Organizing Tips for the Kitchen. Next slide, please. So of course, everything has a process. So how do you get started? Well, step one, decide what area you will work on first. It doesn't have to be a big area. It doesn't, it could be a small area. Think about whether it's overhead cabinets or just a counter or under the sink. You don't have to do it all at one time. You can do it a little bit at a time. Check if you have the items needed to reorganize. So if you think that you need some type of container like the one you see here on the slide with the little door, with the little, storage cabinets, buy something like that. The dollar store is great for things like that. Marshall's, TJ Maxx, they have great organizing items as well that you can get there. If you want to hooks are amazing. If you see here in this black and white picture of the utensils that are along the hooks, something that you can put on your wall, and you can also use the top for jars that have spices. So sometimes thinking about what type of things you can do and use that are multifunctional. So not only can you hang these utensils here, like the spatula and the ladle, etc. But you can also use spices on the top. So when buying items, think about that. Think about how they can be multifunctional. Measure the areas you will organize if you need to buy items, right? If you feel that this little container here that's blue on the left of the slide, if you find, oh, that's something that I want to put in a shelf, well, make sure to measure the shelf, measure the height of the shelf. Is it going to be too high for the shelf? Is it going to be able to store everything that you want to store? Maybe you need to buy two of them, not just one. Make sure that you measure the area so that when you go buy it, it's going to fit in. And you know what? Even if it doesn't fit in, because sometimes you get something from somebody or you get a gift or a storage container, that somebody gives you, you can always check to see what other areas you can put it in and what else you can save in it. A lot of the tips that I'm going to share with you tonight have to do with me repurposing things so that it might have come for one thing, but I use it for another thing. Shop for items online to compare pricing. So when you go on, when you're interested in looking for items to help you organize your things, you can compare shopping prices online so that when you know which store you're going to go to and what you're going to buy, and it saves you time as well, right? It's about organizing not only your items in the kitchen, but also organizing your time, and shopping smartly about, well, maybe Target has all the items I need, or Target has 2 items and Marshalls has 1. The only thing is keep in mind that Target has ongoing items that they sell versus TJ Maxx and Marshalls. They usually turn over items. Sometimes, it's whatever's on the shelf there. So if you see something and you like it, get it, because next time you might not see it. So here's another part of the process. So this process, the step 2 is once you already decided what area you're going to work on, you have the items you want to reorganize, you measured the areas, you already have what you're going to use, and it fits, and you're already ready to prep your area. So, sorry, my cat, he's like my partner in crime here. He's presenting too. Prepping your area, mindful that you're not adding any items that are near an open flame. So for example, if you see here the ladle and the spatula that are hanging from the wall, you don't want to hang that on the wall behind the stove, right? Because if you're gonna go and grab it, you never know, you forget the flame is on, you can burn your arm or your hand. So making sure whatever you put, when you reorganize or organize, that you don't put anything above the stove or on the wall either. Removing all the items, and when you remove the items, sort them according to what category they're all in. If you want all the spoons in one place, if you want all the knives in one place, if you want all the rubber bands, all the paper clips in one place. And yes, I have rubber bands and paper clips in my kitchen. I don't know if you do, but I know I do. I even have clothespins because I use those to close like potato chip bags and things like that. So making sure you sort all of that together so that this way, when you go to put things back into your cabinet, they're all already organized, and it's just about grabbing them and putting them in as they're categorized. Cleaning the area that you're organizing is very important, whether it's a cabinet or a countertop in the kitchen. And one of the things that actually somebody showed me is how to, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about this, but how to clean with things you have at home. So one of the things that I learned was taking orange and lemon grinds and putting some vinegar in a jar with that, and then just letting it sit for about 2 weeks, and then you have a lemon cleaner, and it'll smell good in your area. You don't have any toxic fumes, and it's also something that's not hazardous to you or your pets or your children or anybody who has asthma. So keeping that in mind as well, that when you clean, try to use things that don't smell very strongly. Whenever you clean, whether you use something that you bought at the store or whether you make your own cleaning agent, please make sure to always have open windows so that it can air out as well. And being mindful too of what type of cabinets you have, because if you have wood versus any other type of material, you might not want to wet it too much so that it doesn't damage the wood. Assemble any organizing items you're using. Well, sometimes certain things come that you have to organize them, and you'll see what I mean by some of the pictures. Like for example, a dish rack. I'll show you one that actually you have, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a dish rack that actually comes flat, and you actually open it when you're going to use it. This is useful for people who have small apartments and they don't have too much counter space. And you want to have a dish rack, but you don't want to have it out all the time because you need your counter space, like to cut and slice and dice vegetables or fruit. So make sure you might want to invest in one of those where you just open it when you need it, and then you close it once you're done with it, and it fits in a corner or against the wall very nicely. And sometimes you have to assemble things, and So thinking about how to assemble that too, and making sure that you make time for that when you're organizing your kitchen. And you'll see here a picture of the canisters. I think many people are familiar with the canisters, especially if you have pests like roaches and things like that, or you're concerned with mice or ants. It's always good to, a friend of mine who's a major organizer, and you'll see pictures of her kitchen here. She takes everything out of boxes and she puts them in a glass container, or she puts them in a plastic container. I would suggest more so glass. Glass doesn't necessarily trap humidity as much as plastic does, I think anyway, considering I've experimented with that. I find putting food in the plastic containers, they spoil much quicker than they do in glass jars. At least that's been my experience. So just keeping that in mind, that if it's food, think about the humidity level and think about whether you want glass or you want plastic. And also thinking about sometimes grabbing, right? I know that my grasp I'm kind of losing a little bit of strength in my grasp. So, you might not feel comfortable having glass. You might want plastic, because if it falls from your hands, you don't have to worry about it breaking. Next slide, please. So basic kitchen organizing tips. These are this picture here on the left is a picture from my kitchen. I used to always go through one whole bag where I would have to think about, I would have a big garbage can and 2 bags in the garbage can, one for recyclables and one for food. And it was a huge, like 32-gallon garbage can that took up too much space in my kitchen. And I was thinking, well, how can I make this easier for me? And how can I still sort it, right? You don't want to have to go through your garbage, right? To be able to look for things that go in the recycling bin. So what I decided to do was I bought 2 different garbage cans, and they were pretty economical. And they're both one is from Walmart on the left, and the one on the right is from Target, and it's a stainless steel, and the other one's a plastic one. And so I also find that this is helpful for when people come to visit me, because when I have the big garbage can before with the 2 bags, people would just put everything in the garbage can. And I would have to sort it out after everybody left. But with these 2, I find that people always ask me, which garbage cans should I put it in? So I was like, oh my God, this is great, because I don't have to worry about cleaning up afterwards when people leave as to where things go. So I let them know the white one is for recyclable, and the stainless steel or the silver one is for food. One other tip for organizing too is, so again, these are kind of big, but you can find smaller ones and have 2 of them in the kitchen, or just have one. There's some that come actually where the top, you pull out a top and it's for garbage, and then the bottom is for recyclable. There's a lot of different garbage cans out there that are created so that you can do both with one particular item. And here on the right is a counter compost. This actually, I took a picture. I went to Marshall's this weekend, and this was like $6. I know that right now at least I received, I don't know if many of you, have any of you received any information about composting in your building? If you did, can you raise your hand or just a thumb up so that I can see how many people will be composting, or whether you compost now? Just a thumbs up in the chat. What I like about this little compost bin here is that it's created in a way that it keeps the smell inside, and it actually, I think, helps to also keep it in a particular way so that you don't have to worry about, I don't know about you, but when I used to compost when I owned my house, oh my God, I used to get in the summer maggots, which I don't want to even talk about maggots. They gross me out. I don't know if they gross anybody else out too. But it's small enough that that you can turn it and throw it out after a while, rather than getting a really big one. One of the other things I wanted to say is that the way that I kind of like half compost is that when I have like chicken bones, or I have beans left over, or I have maybe even cans of tuna fish or can of beans, I put them in a plastic bag and I put them in the freezer. And that's because I don't want to put them in the garbage can, because even if I clean them out, it might attract the smell from any pests, from mice, from roaches, from ants, or anything like that. So I tend to put some of those things that are really smelly, especially tuna fish cans. I clean them out and I put them in the freezer. And then once a week, I have cardboard in the recyclable bin. And so then I'll go in the freezer and I'll see, okay, what do I have in the freezer that I can throw out in the garbage can and throw out in the recyclable bin? And then I throw the bags out. So that's kind of composting if you think about it. If you don't want to do composting with a bin because you're afraid of maggots, especially in the summer, it's very easy to get maggots in the summer. If you have any type of meat in your garbage can for a long period of time, is put it in a plastic bag and put it in the freezer. And then when you're ready to throw out the garbage, you just throw it out with the rest of the garbage. Next slide, please. So these are some basic kitchen organizing tips. Over here, there's a magnetic utensil kit, and that was a gift from somebody in my life. And it's amazing because this utensil kit, it actually stands and it has a little magnet on the edge of the handle. So when you stand it up, they all stand up together. So you know how sometimes you don't know where to put the ladle or the spatula because you don't want it dripping anywhere. So this is ideal because you could put it right next to your stove and it'll stand up and you have a place to put them in and you can keep them all together as well. And they're easy to clean and they withstand heat as well. This one here in the middle is a strainer for your sink in the kitchen. Oh, somebody says, yes, we recycle in the building. They give us buckets for recycling and on Sundays they collect it. Yeah, that's great. So this strainer here is for, vegetables or lettuce, anything that you want to clean. And this is ideal also because a strainer, you can keep it on your sink. And it can be useful for you so you don't have to use something else as a strainer, to take up space in your cabinet or take up space in your curio. Some people have curios as well. And one other thing I wanted to say about keeping, having space for all your things. I don't know if anybody else does this. And, when I shared this once, people were like, really? I never thought about that. I have a dishwasher and I also have an oven, stove with an oven, and I keep my pots in the oven because I feel like that's another storage space that you could use. You could put anything in there as long as you remember. Don't forget, don't forget you put it in there and turn on the oven. But I keep my pots in there. And then sometimes I also store things in my dishwasher. So that's extra storage space, believe it or not, that you have that you wouldn't even think about keeping things in there. Just make sure that you remember what's in the dishwasher that's clean and what's dirty. Here there's a small colander bin, it's called, and this is for also you can put fruits in there and you can wash them out and you'll see that it kind of stays up so that it rinses out into the little container. You can buy several of these so when you buy your fruit, and that I always do that. I started doing this recently and I found that actually fresh produce lasts longer for me when I take them out of there, like especially like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. I take them out of their containers and I rinse them out and then I put them in something like this little bin, or I put them in a glass container with a lid, a glass jar with a lid. Next slide, please. So this is a picture of my cabinet in my kitchen. And on the right side here, you see this plastic bin with the little red square at the top. So that's actually a scrapbooking container, plastic container, because I didn't want all of my utensils, like, the spatula and the spoons and things like that I use. I didn't want them just out in my cabinet. So I could not find something big enough to store them. But I went to the container store and they didn't have it in the kitchen area. But I said, let me go to the arts and crafts area because I know they usually carry these things. And so they carried one big enough because scrapbooks are pretty thick. So this plastic container is pretty wide so that all of those things that you see there fit in there. My scissors fit in there, my wine opener fits in there, my spatula, my can opener, like it's amazing. But I could not find anything in the kitchen area that would be big enough and wide enough and to be able to put it in, and it snaps too. It snaps closed and it snaps open. So these two pictures on the left-hand side, this also I got from the Container Store in the arts and crafts section. And actually these were not that expensive either because they were in the arts and crafts section. They weren't in the kitchen area. Sometimes you find that something that you could use for the kitchen is in another area and it's much cheaper than if you went to the kitchen area and bought it. And so you know how usually you store your forks, your spoons, your knives in a cutlery organizer, but I wanted one with a lid. I didn't want one where they were exposed because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. I don't know if some of you knew that. And so I wanted to make sure that I could prevent, if I just moved, I sold my house. I moved into my co-op apartment. I purchased my apartment and everybody was like, oh, you better beware because you're going to start getting roaches and this and that. And, I have seen one or two, maybe, once every 3 or 4 months, knock on wood. It's been okay. But I wanted to make sure that I had utensils in a closed area. And like, okay, because that will not attract any type of pest, whether it's ants or flies or roaches or mice, etc. And so that this is what I found. I could not find anything in the kitchen area that came cutlery thing with a closed lid. This is something to sort for jewelry, I think. I got at the Container Store. And it has little dividers. If you see the little dividers in there, you can make the spaces bigger or smaller. And it has a lid and it snaps into place, which I love. So that's one of the my organizing tips in the kitchen. Next slide, please. So this is other pictures from my kitchen as well. And I have to give credit to Cheryl, who's a dear friend of mine who helped me to move in when I first got to the apartment. And she helped me to organize my kitchen as well. She has great organizing tips. And I came into the kitchen. She said, girl, why you have so much tea? What's going on with the tea? And I was like, I like tea. I don't drink coffee and I don't drink hot chocolate, even though I do like hot chocolate. And so she said, look, I created a tea cabinet for you. I was like, what is that? She's like, come look. And when she opened the cabinet, my smile was like just all over my face because I was like, oh my God, I would have never thought about using that cabinet to set up my teas that way. And I just love it. And everybody that comes here, actually like, I got a tea cabinet. I got a tea cabinet. It's a great way to sort it out. You have great aromas. You also have it's very colorful. And so this is one of the things about sometimes organizing can kind of create that sense of, calm, that sense of serenity, that sense of peace, that you're going to go open your tea cabinet and you see this colorful assortment and you're going to decide, which one should I take? So if you ever want to come over, we can have tea. The second picture is, I found this and I think it was in the dollar store if I'm not mistaken. And it actually was in the arts and crafts section too. And I think the spool was used for something else and I used it for the paper towel instead. And then the little side, what do you call it? The little side bin, wooden bin was for like pencils and pens. And I thought, oh, that's a great way of putting in utensils and, my spatulas or my mashed potato. I don't know if you could see the masher. I call it the masher, the potato masher, unless somebody knows the real name for it. So yeah, arts and crafts is great for buying things that can help you to organize your kitchen. And then repurposing. Repurposing is a big thing of mine because when I moved in, I was thinking, oh, I should get, a cabinet here. I should get, this there. And then I was thinking, well, I brought things from the house that was in the bathroom. For example, I had this in the bathroom when I was at the house. Here, my bathroom is too small and I already have a closet in the bathroom and I don't really need this piece in the bathroom. And so I said, oh, I need something for the air fryer. So I said, this is perfect because I can put it in the kitchen. It matches the floor because the floor is very dark. It matches, um, the kind of the color scheme I have in the kitchen. So repurposing, thinking about when you're trying to get rid of something, think about, well, can I use it somewhere else? Can I use it in the kitchen? And what can I use it for? And what can I put in it? Or what could, you do to it in terms of painting it or putting wallpaper on it or contact paper on it to repurpose it, so that you kind of like upcycling. I think that's what it's called. I think it's called upcycling. So you don't have to throw it away, but you can use it, for something else. Or I tend to donate a lot. St. Mary's is really great. For those of you who are here in New York, you call them and they come pick up. Next slide, please. This again is from my kitchen. On the left-hand side, you'll see a spice rack, and I know many of you are familiar with a spice rack. Sometimes they come on a Lazy Susan where it rotates. This one is just in a little like wooden plate, and actually all the spices are labeled, and I have it near the stove. It's not hanging by the stove, it's by the stove because when I'm cooking, it's much easier to just grab the spices that I need, to apply it, add it to the food that I'm cooking, and it also matches. Um, and it depends on whether you like things to be hidden away or you like things to be out. But this is a great way of organizing what it is that you use on a daily basis or every so often. And you can think about just putting the spices that you use often rather than all of your spices, which can take up a lot of space as well. This was from a friend in my life as well, who brought it for me, and I was gonna put it away in the cabinet. And he's like, "Why are you gonna put it in the cabinet? Look, it matches everything." So that was thinking about spice racks. It can be very useful. There's smaller ones as well, that could take up less space, and they fit in cabinets as well. The other two pictures is a shopping cart, and I keep the shopping carts in my kitchen, but I always had a hard time trying to keep them closed. They would always open, and I would have to have a piece of furniture against them to keep them closed. And then I said, "Oh, wait a minute. How can I stop the wheels from moving and opening up?" So what I did was, I closed it, and I realized if I lean it against the wall and put a door stopper underneath the wheel, it will stay closed. So I bought some door stoppers, tried it, and it works. It works because I don't have to leave them open in the kitchen. They kind of close up and they stay still. Next slide, please. Sorry. My throat tends to get dry when I talk a lot. You have over the cabinet kitchen storage organizer here on the left. This is something you can hang from the door underneath your sink, and you can add things in there as well as putting things inside underneath the sink on the bottom. And the middle one, I'm sorry, that's a duplicate from the previous one that I had shown you. And then this thing here, this white little thing, I don't know. Can you go to the next slide, Maria? I want to see if I sent a picture of that or not. Okay, no. All right, go back. Can you go back? So this white, you see it's like I don't know if you're familiar with, there's certain cultures that they only bring out dishes at a certain time of the season or for a certain holiday, and so they store their dishes in these containers. And so when they're ready to use them, they unzipper this, and then they bring out their dishes, and then when they're done with their dishes, they clean them and they put them back in here. It's something similar to, um storing things, but in a bag, in a little like plastic white bag. And so what I did was I used that to actually put some spices in there because I felt like, specifically fine china. Yeah, yeah. If you know the name of it, please feel free to put it in the chat, of these little bags. And actually I bought them, I think I bought them at Bed Bath and Beyond. before they closed, and it came with a set of 4 or 5 of them. And you can use them for many different things. You can use them to put jars, you can put them to put plates or cups or spices. I even use one for my cat's puzzles because it's a square one that has a zipper. So it's a great way of keeping things organized and also keeping them away from any type of pest. Next slide, please. And so here also, this is something I saw in Marshall's this weekend, and this is really cool. This is a on the left here, the blue and white is a 3-tier ice cube tray, and not only does it come with a tray with a little box where each tray makes ice for you, but then once you take out the ice, you can actually use the container to put the ice in it. Like, I love multifunctional things that not only does it help you make ice, but it helps you to store the ice as well. And there's a lot of different types of these in Marshalls that you can find, and they're very economical. This one was like $6.99 or something like that. The Snackle box here on the right, I love this Snackle box. Again, it was at Marshall's. It was reasonably priced. It was no more than probably $8, $9, $10. And you can put, as you could see, different things in it, and it had a lid on it, which I love. I love things with lids because it kind of keeps everything else away, whether it's a fly or mosquitoes or whatever. You can use this when you go picnicking. You can use this to prepare your foods in the kitchen and organize them, or you could put it out, for guests when they come. You can also put different fruits and crackers and cheese and things like that that you can keep in the kitchen, or you can use them for different things in the kitchen. You can use them for, putting rubber bands or paper clips and putting clothespins to close your potato chip bag, etc. Next slide, please. So kitchen drawer organizers. This one is another one I saw in Marshall's on the left. And actually, this one is interesting. I don't know if any of you have seen, but these kitchen drawer organizers are really interesting now because they come where you can kind of open the side or close the side to make it smaller, depending on the size of your kitchen cabinet. So thinking about investing in that might be useful for you. And some of them come with different sizes, 2 little boxes that you can put in there with different sizes. The middle is a Lazy Susan. And again, it was at Marshall's. All these 3 I found at Marshall's. And you could put spices in there, or you could put sprinkles in there, and then it actually turns, which is great because if you put it in, and you know how sometimes you're trying to reach into the cabinet all the way to the back to get to see what's back there. This allows you to turn it so that you can easily see what is in each of the jars. Can organizer, it's making more space in your kitchen cabinets or in your pantry for cans, and this is a great way because if you tier it, then you're able to create more space by actually setting it up that way. And it's an adjustable can organizer too. Or things that are adjustable are great because you can either make them smaller or bigger, or put them sideways, or put them, towards the top or the bottom. Talking about this reminds me of somebody's house that I went to visit, and it was interesting because I saw a cabinet, and the cabinet above her counter would open this way instead of to the sides. And I said, so what, that's really cool. I love it that it opens up rather than to the sides. And she says, oh, that was a cabinet that came that you're supposed to open to the sides, but I wanted one that opened this way to the top. And it looked amazing. And so repurposing and recycling and upcycling, really think about different things that you can use for, organizing your kitchen. Next slide, please. Again, storage shelves. These are great. I love these little storage shelves here on the left because you can stack them up one on top of another, and you can put different things on it. So at the bottom, you can put plates, and then on the top, you can make more space. So it's about making this helps you to make more space in your kitchen cabinets and also to organize things. And you don't have to worry about it being glass or getting broken. They're easy to clean, etc. And being easy to clean, that's another important thing. And I wanted to say about the cutlery organizing items that you see. Be mindful if you buy wood, because wood gets dirty easily and it also accumulates bacteria much easily. When you have cutlery organizers like the ones I have, which are plastic, they're so much easier to clean. So keep that in mind with just soap and water. This is one of the drying racks that I had mentioned, and actually it's foldable, so it's just lines. It's like little bars, and then you just lay it out on top of the sink to, dry your items. And then what you can do is you just fold it up. It's like little straws that all come together, which is really great. Hooks, I mentioned hooks before as well. Next slide, please. So this is the left is in my kitchen. I found this pot in Target. Oh my God, I was so amazed at this pot. I love this pot. All I paid was $20. And you know how I always find like a strainer for me is takes up more space in the kitchen that doesn't need to. And I think whoever organized this pot had the same idea, like we need to invent something because this pot, you see the little holes on the lid? That's because whatever you boil in that pot, when you're done, you don't need a strainer. You just close the lid on the pot and you see it has a little spout, and then you just pour it out, which is amazing. And it has a little spout for you to pour whatever's in that pot if you have soup. So I really love that pot. And so it's a way of the reason why I put it in here is because it's a way of multifunctional, again, item. You don't have to get a strainer. If your pots have all of these type of lids, you don't need another strainer. You just need to just buy the pot with the lid that has that function in it. So it's multifunctional. On the right-hand side here is from my friend who's a major organizer, and that's kind of a little bowl that she creates to put in different things in it so that it's organized, and she puts all of the same things together. So if she goes to any particular bowl, she remembers this is where I put all the cleaning supplies, this is where I put all of the towels, or this is where I put all of my spices, etc. Next slide, please. And that is it in terms of my organizing tips for the kitchen. I hope they were helpful to you. I will be talking probably about the bedroom next time because this is the first in a series. But it's about organizing to help with self-care. And it's also to think about, how to make it easier for you when you're navigating your kitchen, because I know sometimes I turn on my light and I think, oh my God, I have to do something with this room. Wanted to leave you with let's go to question and answers, and then I'll leave you with a little tip that I have from the book I read from at the beginning. All right, question and answers.
I have a few things that I wanted to share with you guys.
Yes, please share. If you have any tips that you organize, please share.
So, one thing that was very useful was measuring the shelves, because I've been looking to organize my spices and have a lot of them. So I went to Home Goods and got excellent things to store my spices. And but I had to measure, so I went twice, and then I said, oh, will this be high enough for the cabinet? So very good tip. And now placing the utensils closer to the stove, you have to be careful how close they are, because they won't. The problem is that they might melt with the heat. So not only having them closer to the stove, but the reason is that they melt. So if you're going to organize that, have the rubber on one side, not closer to the fire, if anything. Okay, what else? Okay, I use white vinegar to clean the counters.
Mm-hmm.
White
Yep.
vinegar was
Perfect.
reduced with water, and
Mhm.
that is my first initial thing to clean the counter when I'm working.
Mhm.
I use white
Um,
vinegar to clean the microwave.
I'm sorry?
I use the white vinegar to clean the microwave.
You
Mhm.
see,
Yep.
that's good.
Yep,
Excellent.
that's great. Yeah.
I
Um,
don't like soap in the microwave.
right. That's a good point. I use, well, I don't know if the forest stills, I don't know. It's for the building, we got containers for composting for free. I don't know if you can ask anywhere in your own district if they supply or send you a packet. It's very comfortable. I have it in the kitchen. It closes very well. It's small, and we have a bin outside of the building in an enclosed area where we go and deposit everything. And on Sunday they take it next to the garage by the sidewalk. They place them there, so they collect them at the end of the Sundays. And that's in the bucket. One little tip: at the bottom of the, if you're going to use a bucket, use even a paper bag at the bottom.
Mhm.
So when you toss the whole thing on the garbage, it goes with that, and it doesn't mess up so much your bucket. It's pretty clean when you throw the garbage if you have a paper bag at the bottom of the
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that too, because there are composting bags that are landfill safe. And these
uh-huh.
are bags that they disintegrate very easily after you put all of your composting items in it. And
Right,
they can get pricey, but they have those little bags
right.
too
But if you use
that you can use.
paper,
Right. It's more
it's
economical and you
good.
can get it
That's
cheaper.
right. And the
Right.
paper,
Yeah.
you get it at Trader Joe's, anywhere that they give you a bag.
Hmm.
What else? Give recycling. Oh, to use the to store beans and all that. I still keeping all containers, all glass containers from pasta,
Hmm.
or and recycle them.
Yep,
Or
exactly.
not necessarily I go to Michael's and buy the glasses, the
Right, right.
glass or the
Hmm.
whatever they're called. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the anyway. Uh,
Thank you, Milta.
okay,
Mason
and
jars.
in the Salvation Army, um,
Yes, you
I
can get
go
really
to
good at it.
one in on Woodside Avenue, 61st, and
Hmm.
I go always there when I need utensils for the kitchen, because many times they have brand new stuff for half a price. So it's a good place to shop sometimes for new things and half price.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, you don't
yeah,
have to go to the stores to get it. You can go to the thrift
right,
stores and find things, especially for storage in the kitchen.
exactly. And buying carton in a flour or any meal that you buy in a carton, uh, try to dispose it as fast as you can, because they collect a lot of bugs.
Mm.
Sometimes between the creases of the boxes, they collect little
Mm.
eggs. So, and you wonder why you have bugs in the flour or in the rice or whatever.
Mm.
It's because of that. So you keep the carton. So try to move it as soon as possible to glass.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you sharing all of that.
Yeah.
Anybody else has any tips or questions?
I have a question. You did mention you found a recipe with the lemon and orange rimes and vinegar. Is that all you put, or is there anything else that you suggest?
Yeah, that's all I put. It's just vinegar and orange rinds and lemon rinds. Or you could do both, or you could do either one or one or the other. and then just let it sit in that container, you know, whether it's a glass container or a plastic container. Let it sit for about 2 weeks, because that's how long it takes for the oils to kind of dilute from the rinds into the vinegar. And then just use it like that. You don't need to add any water or anything like that. You'd be amazed. And you can add more
Making
vinegar
it
to it afterwards.
lemon limes and also orange. So I was gonna go down to the garden and donate them like I usually do, but I'm just gonna try this. Why not?
Yeah. Let it sit for
Good
about
idea.
2 weeks so that you can get all the oils in it, and then you're ready to use it to clean.
Perfect. Thank you.
Tess, did you have you're welcome. Thank you for
Yeah.
your question. I really appreciate it. Tess, did you have a question?
Yes,
on that?
thanks, Jackie. These are great tips.
You're welcome.
My husband and I, we don't generate a lot of garbage anymore, so we eliminated our big garbage can, and we have something on the back of one of our cabinet doors. You can get it at one of the stores. And anyway, the point is you have to hang a plastic bag. But what we do is, like, all the deliveries you get from Amazon or anybody, and you get the plastic bag, you know, you cut it, open it, okay, and we stick that in, and that becomes our garbage bag.
Oh,
And
that's
then
great.
at the end of the day, you just, you know, pull it out and put it out in your garbage. So I feel like I'm kind of doing a little help there, you know, with the environment, but that was my point.
Yeah,
But
every
thank
little
you.
bit helps. You're
Yeah.
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Every little bit helps. Yeah, definitely. I
Right.
used to actually, you know, the styrofoams that come in sometimes the packaging and everything. I don't know if you could see behind me, and this is not a kitchen thing, but what I did is I stacked them, and they're kind of shelving. I use them as shelving to put different things. When we talk about the living room, I'll show you some of the things I've done in the living room, in the shelf particularly,
Oh,
in
that's
reference
great.
to, you know, organizing tips.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice to get organized, right? As you mentioned,
Yes,
you
it
feel
makes a
much
difference.
better, much lighter. I have
Yes.
that problem with my closets. The week that I organize them, they're fabulous. A month later, they're still a disaster.
I
So,
know that happens to me
Uh,
too.
Yeah. Even cleaning the bathroom, like I'll clean the bathroom in the morning when I turn on the light, I like, oh my God, it feels so much brighter, and it smells cleaner, and it smells so peaceful. It can make such a difference when you organize your things.
yeah.
So I'm gonna read a little tip, because I know our time is almost up, before we do our raffle. And it's again from the book that I mentioned before, Everyday Calm, Relaxing Rituals for Busy People. And it says drawer Dharma, Drawer, Dharma. And it says the teachings of Buddha are often referred to as the Dharma, a term that can be translated as truth. The state of your desk or drawers reveals certain truths about your life. You can't be calm if your surroundings reflect chaos. Inner order relies on every item being in its perfect place. I don't know about perfect place because perfection doesn't exist, but
In the right place.
in the right place. Yes, I would substitute that with in the right place. So it has 5 tips that I want to leave you with. And it says 1, open a drawer and see what's inside. 2, take out any items you don't need and give them away. 3, place each item for ease of use. 4, use containers to organize the small stuff. 5, notice how your drawer and your mind fall into order simultaneously. And the last one, your goal is to keep all areas of your life in order. So one at a time, tackle all the drawers in your home.
Amen.
That is my spiel.
Okay, I'll start.
So,
But remember at the beginning, she said that you didn't have to finish. So I'm going to start too. I just don't have to finish.
right. It could be, you just have 5 or 10 minutes and you feel like, you're tired of being on the computer and you want to see, let me see what's in this drawer and see what I need or what you're going to find things. They're like, oh, that's where it is. I was looking for it the other day and I didn't know where it was. And that's where it is. You'll find
Right.
things that, you come across that you were looking for a while, and you'd be amazed what things you have. You can give away, you could recycle or upcycle, I think it's called. So this is what's the name of the book? Very good, Sunshine Girl. That is the raffle question. So we're raffling a kitchen organizing item, and the person who gets it is the person who remembers the title of the book that I read from. So if you can put it in the chat, if you remember what the title is.
Or at least get one word correct.
Yes.
Shoot.
Okay, everybody can put in Sunshine Girl. It's funny. Just put in what you remember. Yes, my sweet boy.
He wants to win.
Yeah, you hear him, right? You hear
He's
him.
telling you the answer.
Is everybody put in their guess?
Esther, put in something.
I'm trying.
Nivea, put in something.
I think
Something about peace and calm. Good. I think that was close.
So who's the winner? Who's the winner? Who's the winner?
All right, so we have Teresa, Tess, who says calm, and Esther had said something about peace and calm. So the name of the book is Everyday Calm, Relaxing Rituals for Busy People. So Tess was the one who mentioned it, and then Esther mentioned it at the end. So we're gonna, Tess is our winner for tonight.
Yeah.
Esther, if you need one, I'll let you take it.
Ah, that's sweet.
Do you?
I don't have one, but you won, so go ahead, enjoy
No,
it.
no. I'm okay if you want. Why don't you give it to Esther?
Oh,
Okay.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, good.
Well, Esther, if you can give
Good.
Maria your address,
Okay.
and we will mail you your raffle item.
Well, Esther, just put your email in the chat and then Jackie can contact you.
Oh, okay, great. Yes. And I'll send it to your home.
Mhm.
Thank you everybody for attending.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
so great
Oh, we
be
have to
able
take a picture. Wait,
Oh,
hang on
oh,
a second. Sunshine Girl, can you get on?
Let me write Esther's
What
name.
was that?
I don't know. Sunshine Girl. Who is
He
Sunshine
was
Girl?
walking home, right?
Okay. Everybody look in the
I'm on
camera.
mute. You're on, somebody's on mute.
Very good. Thank you.
Oh, it's Jackie. Jackie Estacio is Sunshine Girl. Hello, my.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
everybody smile again. Perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jacqueline, for this beautiful, talk. It was very, very enlightening. We love it. We're going to try all those tips.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to the next in the series because this is the first in the series and we're going to do one room at a time. So thank you very much. And ladies, congratulations to Esther and have a good night and
Thank
we will
you.
see you soon.
You too.
Okay,
Ciao.
thank you.
Good night,
Ciao.
Comadres.
Take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good to
Thanks for
see you.
joining. Bye.